All right. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back. Hopefully, you all are doing well today. So, I want to take this time and first off apologize to you all, because we did just pass through the new moon in Gemini, and I should have known better. I should have known better. Uh, we need to talk about this energy. We definitely need to talk about this energy. And the reason why we need to talk about this energy is for quite a few different reasons. So, first and foremost, of course, Gemini is the lover's card in tarot. It's also the hanged man, and in some instances, it's also the magician, at least from what I gather from my own cards. So, already there's quite a bit of energy at play. And with new moons, it starts a 6 month cycle. And so it won't be until 6 months later when we have the full moon in Gemini, all of this is going to come to a head. But with these new beginnings happening, there's quite a bit of pendulum energy, swinging energy. It is affecting everybody differently. So, of course, the lovers is divine masculine, divine feminine coming together in union. And so that can be relationships, that can be personal matters where the emotional side and the physical side finally get on the same wavelength of a person, and union happens. It's a union integration of oneself. But the reason why this energy is so important is because there are some of us here who are struggling with this new 6 month cycle. And the reason why some of us are struggling is because some relationships that we thought that we wanted or that we have been in for quite some time are falling out of balance. And the reason why they're falling out of balance is because we realize that we ourselves are out of balance, or what we thought we wanted, it's not really what we want. Work relations, when it comes to jobs, that is more of a divine masculine thing, putting in time and effort and getting the abundance back from it. Some of us are starting to realize we don't want to stay at those jobs for however many years or however long. I'm not going to say it's been a waste of time, but it's starting to get to that point where you really start to sit back and you're like, do I really want to do this? Is this really what I want to do? And that's where the hanged man energy and the magician energy start to come in. So, with this new moon cycle, we are seeing things from a different point of view. Now, don't get me wrong, we are not moving as of yet, okay? We will get more to that motion as we move through this 6 month cycle. But with the hanged man, you're kind of stringing yourself up to seeing things from a different perspective. Some of us are just stringing ourselves up and not really. That's all makes me think of the Eight of Swords. Putting ourselves into that strung up situation where, it's almost like backing ourselves into a corner. Or it feels like we're backing ourselves into a corner. But I'm here to remind you that you have choices, you have options. Sometimes they may not be the options and choices that we want, but sometimes those options and choices are necessary. So I do want to take a look at this energy. We are going to pull cards today, of course. As you can see, I've got the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. I've got my Souls on Fire Tarot by Mary Jo Cranmore. And then, of course, I've got the Golden Foil that I use on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the daily pulls for the runes. So we will be taking a look at this energy. And of course, there's a change in the wind underneath. I'm not surprised. But in higher power, absolutely. The higher powers here, what I've noticed, and especially from today's rune pull, they have their hands on us quite a bit. And I feel as though this energy is here to kind of shake things up, to test the foundations that we have built. Essentially, that's what's happening here. They're testing the foundations that we have built. And what it's doing is it's either making sure that the foundations are sturdy enough to withstand what is happening, or it's starting to show us the cracks. It's starting to show us the cracks and the fault lines in the foundation. And that is where it requires our immediate attention. Obviously, without a strong foundation, it won't stand. It won't last. So the universe is coming in to shake things up here, and things are getting really, really interesting for some of us. Like I said, friendships, relationships, jobs, connections, how we've been living our lives is starting to kind of crumble, starting to kind of fall apart. There's the divine feminine with yin, not surprised. So we'll see what wants to come through. As always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I know that I'm reading for a collective, so for some of you it may not be the entire reading, but I will do my best to look at everything on a spectrum. And then we've got the divine masculine energy and regeneration. Oh, Jesus. So let's see where we're going with all of this. But I want you to know that it's going to be okay. I want you to know that the universe is not going to give you anything that you cannot handle. And it is okay to look at the choices that you have made and realize that you may have chosen a decision that was fitting at the time, but no, it's no longer serving its purpose. It's no longer serving its purpose. And so now you're being asked to really look at yourself, really look at these connections, look at these relationships, and ask yourself, is this working? Is this working for me? Clean it up. So let's see where we're going with these. Let's see what wants to come through. I'm very in tune with this energy. Very in tune. So, 4 more. All right. Once. I don't know why it's always 3 or 4. Twice. Hello. 3 times. And 4 times. There's soulmates underneath. There's union. All right, soulmates, between worlds. Imagine, talked about this in the morning rune poll today, and building blocks. So it looks like we're going to be pulling regeneration. I'll walk away with that too. And then we also have new life as well. Exactly what I was just telling you, but I'm going to touch base with this morning poll today. This is Tuesday, so for those of you who are a part of my Facebook group over on Ollie's Oracle over on Facebook, this is the morning message that I'm kind of talking about. For those of you who are watching this a little bit later, if you are not part of that Facebook group, there is a link in the description box below. Please feel free to hop over there. See what all of this is about. All of these readings are posted over there. It's a good time over there. It really is. So this morning message, when I was pulling the rune and then shuffling the golden foil tarot, the rune that came through, and I'm going to butcher that name. I'm going to butcher this name. What was it? It was Porth? Essentially, it was hearth. It was unexpected luck, divine energies, hidden energies. But when I was pulling those cards, as I was contemplating that energy, the question that flew through my brain was, what would you do if you knew that you would succeed? And to even flip that energy, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? And so it was asking us to embrace this energy, not trying to fight against it. And I know that's easier said than done. I definitely know that's easier said than done, because there are times where even me and my happy, wonderful, bright and shiny self fight the energy. I know it's easier said than done. But that's why I feel like this imagine is here. And it goes beyond a daydream, okay? It goes beyond the daydream. We really sit here and we ask ourselves, how can we make our lives better, especially when it comes to relationships? Like, we think about relationships, and it is kind of like a daydream. Okay, ground that daydream in realistic expectations. Really ground it. Like, For the longest time, I was looking at relationships in a very wrong way. And I'm not saying that you do per se. But let's say, of course everyone wants the person with the $1 million and the stable job and some of these unrealistic expectations that we have of love. Reel it back in just a little bit. I'm not saying stop imagining, but what I'm saying is again, ground it in a realistic expectation. And when you do that, you allow the universe to work with you and not against you. Because, of course, everyone wants the love at first sight or wants the stability right off the jump. Sometimes we do have to give a little to get a little. Okay? Back to these cards, that's what I feel like the universe is doing here. The universe is trying to give a little, which means you have to give a little. And they will work with you. But as you move through this energy, I do feel as though it's going to cause a change here with the regeneration. But this change here, this changing of your union is bringing in a new chapter, a new life even. And so as we shift through this between worlds, please don't let old expectations tamper with this energy. Again, what would you do if you knew that you would not fail? What would you do if you knew you would succeed? Really ask yourself that question. Really lean into this luck. But what it's going to do is it's going to help you, again, work with that foundation. And that's why some foundations are cracking, because they're not the foundations you need. But once you get to a place where that foundation is exactly what you should be standing on, the universe will start to bring in more building blocks for you. I know, it's quite a bit of channeled energy here today. It is definitely quite a bit. So I'm going to use the Souls on Fire Tarot for this, because this seems to be the loudest one of the two. Okay. Looks like we're going to do this in a few different parts today, guys. We're going to do this in a few different parts. I'm going to look at the path that you're on. Really? We're going to look at the path that you're on, and then I'm going to take a direct look at you. Okay? So this may be quite a long reading today, but bear with me. Bear with me. All right, guys. I hope you're strapped in. I hope you're ready. Yeah. Strap yourselves in, everybody. Now I've got Harry Potter going through my brain. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Oh, goodness. That's the night bus. Yeah, take it away. Oh my goodness. All right, underneath, we've got the Hierophant. We've got the Five of Pentacles. We've got the Star card. We've got the Ten of Wands. Give me one more. And we've got the Gemini energy of the Hanged Man here. So, as we move away from these things, some of you may be moving away from a traditional way of doing things. And those traditions don't really have to come from ourselves. Like, when we think of tradition, we think of things that have been passed down through the generations, right? Things that have just kind of always been there. You may be moving away from some of that. You may have to move away from some of that. Using my own life as an example. And this is just an example. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but this is just an example. So, growing up, I knew it was different. I mean, and even with the tarot, I knew I was different. But when it came to me being me, embracing who I was, a divine masculine with divine feminine energy, that wasn't the expectation that was set. That wasn't the traditional way of doing things. And in order to live my best life, in order to live my authentic self, I had to move away from those traditions, from those expectations. And that's what I see is happening here with this Ten of Wands. You may have to move away from the traditional way of doing things. And for those of you who don't understand where I was going with that, it is Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to everyone. Fantastic. Thank you for being love, light, and support on this channel. For those of you who don't quite understand that, that's okay. You're more than welcome to live your lives the way that you see fit, but you're not allowed to be an asshole to other people just because it doesn't fit your life. But I am of homosexual orientation. I do like other men. And so that goes against the traditional way of doing things. But what it did was it allowed me to live my best life. It's allowing me to live my best life. It's allowing me to experience another level of happiness that I wouldn't have experienced in the traditional way of doing things. So, but what this is doing is it's causing us to move away from the traditional way of doing things, from the obligations. I'm hearing an obligation. But you have to move away from these obligations in order to be able to live your best life. And that's what I feel like is coming through. Again, we are seeing things from a different perspective. You are having to see things from a different perspective. Notice how he's strung up. He's not standing on a foundation right now. He's just trying to see things from a different perspective. He's not going anywhere. But he's still trying to see things from a different point of view. So let's see what the rest of this reading has got here. The Sun. The Eight of Swords. This is going to be quite a bit of energy. Like I said, hold on tight. We've got the Scorpio, or Sag. I'm sorry, that's Sag. Sag, Scorpio. I take them both. With the Death card. We've got the Six of Swords. We've got the Knight of Cups. Love that. With the Five of Cups. Absolutely. Nine of Pentacles, where we're going. King of Cups. And the Page of Pentacles. So, I do feel as though that there is a very clear indication of what it is that we want. What it is that is going to drive us forward into those sunnier days. But again, I feel as though, like I talked about earlier, Eight of Swords. There's that Eight of Swords. We may have the feeling that we're bound by obligation or backed ourselves into a corner. It's time to transform. It's time to live your lives the way that you see fit. And I'm not going to lie to you. Going back to my example. When I told the rest of my family, some of them were really supportive and some of them weren't. Now, that was years ago. When they come to realize that it wasn't just a phase or it wasn't something that I was doing for attention, they either had to get on board or they were left behind. And that's okay. It's okay to have people fall out of your vibration. It just means they can't hang. But when one person exits, that leaves an empty chair for somebody else to come in and fill it. And I know that really sucks. And most of my family, actually all of my family, were very supportive. Now they are very supportive. We had a few bumps in the road. We did. But when they realized that I was removing them from their chair and making room for other things, they were like, oh no, oh no. And so they took their place back where they belonged. So when it comes to things coming and going, if it's serious, if it's meant to be there, it will sit back down in that chair. It will stay. But if it's meant to go, the universe will make sure that it goes. But it's not for you to linger on that energy. You need to move forward. You need to move forward because we've got the Knight of Cups coming in. The Knight of Cups is this messages that are coming in. They're messages of love. They're offers of love. It's another cup. It makes me think of the Seven of Cups. You have options and choices and all of these different abundant things along with more things that are coming in. But again, it's almost as though you feel as though some of those cups aren't worth it, or some of those cups you can't reach. But behind him, he's got the Two of Cups. So don't cry over spilled milk. Do not cry over spilled milk with this. Embrace what you still have and move forward with this beautiful energy. And again, think of the possibilities. Think of these possibilities. Do not linger. Do not cry over spilled milk. Do not cry over spilled milk. Because at the end of the day, yes, some things, some relationships, some connections are going to fall away. But it's making room for better things that are coming in. And I know that right now we want that immediate gratification. It's a human experience. Like, we want that immediate gratification. It's okay for it to take some time. Rome wasn't built in a day. These foundations are not going to be built in a day. So enjoy the process and find these pentacles as you move forward. King of Cups and Page of Pentacles. So there is something of value here. There is something of value here. And here we go. We have a divine masculine with divine feminine energy. So there's more of that integration of that union. But there's something to be learned during this 6-month period. And some of these lessons, like I said, are going to be hard. They're going to be hard. So clarify this 5 of Cups for me, please. Knight of Pentacles. There's that message, the message of work needing to be done. The Moon, the 5 of Wands, and there's that 10 of Pentacles. I'm glad you took the words right out of my mouth again, Tarot. I was just about to tell you what the Page of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles gives us the 10 of Pentacles. It gives us the 10 of Pentacles. So again, there will be some loss, but you have to remove the infection before it can heal. You have to be able to make room for the right puzzle pieces. Because if you try to shove these puzzle pieces into where they don't belong, when you do find that puzzle piece that belongs, well, you've already got a puzzle piece here. You still have to remove that puzzle piece in order to fit that puzzle piece into play. Otherwise, you're like, well, I have no use for this. And you throw it over your shoulder and, well, then the puzzle's never going to get done. But with this 5 of Cups, like I said, you are going to have to look at some of the hard things. You are going to have to look at some of the hard things. But there's something to learn with these hard things. And I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, because it's not. Especially with this 5 of Wands. Everyone's got an opinion. Somebody's got something to say. But when it comes to your life, the only opinion that matters is yours. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, when you go home and lay down with your significant other, or you go home from a long day at work, you have to deal with your thoughts and emotions. That's you. Not somebody else. Not your parents, not your grandparents, not your best friends. I mean, don't get me wrong. Best friends we do kind of vent to all the time. But at the end of the day, you have to live with these choices, not somebody else. So make sure that these are going to be choices that you can live with, and choices that are going to be inspiring and loving and inspirational and fulfilling for you. So on the first layer of this, I see Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Sag, and Pisces. That is the first layer that I see. I am going to take this a step further now. Like I said, I told you this is going to be a long reading, because this energy is very, very big. Very big energy. So now I'm going to take a direct look at you. I am going to take a direct look at you. And for some of you, this may resonate. For some of you, this may not. But let's see where we're going. Let's see what this all entails, shall we? Underneath, we got the Four of Cups. There's those messages coming in. King of Swords, that's Aquarian energy. The opportunity, or the next step, is the Six of Swords. It's moving forward. Okay, I am going to take a look at that Four of Cups because even though these messages are coming in, I do feel as though some of you are getting them and some of you aren't. Grounding you is the Strength card, absolutely. Guiding you is the World, absolutely. Where you were, yeah. Judgment. Where you're going, Ace of Wands, beautiful. Beautiful. The outcome is the Four of Wands. This is where you're headed. This is what is trying to come through for you. I do want to look at this Four of Cups. Are we hearing these messages? Are we not hearing these messages? Six of Wands. Queen of Cups. Yeah. That Five of Swords. There's that moving away from people and energies. And last one, Devil energy. So there are some of you who are afraid. There are some of you who are afraid. And it goes beyond being afraid. Again, it makes me think back to that Eight of Swords. How they're confined by their throats. They're confined by their throats. And for me, that's a block of the throat chakra. That is not speaking the truth. And I think it's time you do that. I really do think it's time you do that. These are not made for kids. So they shouldn't show up on kids' channels by any means. So when I say that we're all adults here, we're all adults here. And as an adult, you should be able to express yourself and be able to be clear and concise with your boundaries and what you want, and be able to communicate. And I know that's, again, easier said than done sometimes, especially when we're dealing with a traditional way of doing things. And when I mean traditions, I mean parents or expectations or even religion. The traditional way of doing things. It's okay to go against the grain. It is. It is okay to branch off and do your own things. I mean, that's how most of life works. At one point in time, we didn't have electricity. Until Roosevelt? History is not my strong suit. Not even going to lie to you. But until somebody went out and was like, what can I do to make this better? And of course people looked at that situation and they're like, you're insane. And now here we are. Or the person who, we went from horse and carriages to cars. It's okay to go against the grain because something good can come out of that. It's okay. And I know you're afraid. And it's okay to be afraid and still do it anyway. And that's why I feel like the courage card is here. The strength card is here. Because this is going to take some courage. And when you start to believe in oneself, that's the divine feminine, that emotional belief in oneself, then that work follows suit. And there's the divine masculine energy, so there's that union energy coming back in. But you are at the end. You are at the end and a beginning, all at the same time. Because one door has to close before another door has to open. Before another door gets to open. And so that's why you're being asked here to make a new choice. You're being asked to make a new choice. And in fact, I'm going to go a step further as to looking at all of your past choices and really realizing what worked for you and what didn't. Because when you do that, you get to move forward. I feel like there's more than one door that needs closed here. And it will go back to that Five of Cups. Some doors you may not want to close. And other doors you may not be ready for them to open. But that's how we all start our lives. You know, when we were in kindergarten, or no, actually for me it was kindergarten. When we were in kindergarten, I was afraid to make new friends. Like, I had my sister. My sister was my best friend and is my best friend to this day. I didn't need new friends. And it was scary to make new friends. But when those doors opened, and I kind of peeked around the corner and I'm like, hello? Like, is anybody in here? You kind of get a feel for it. You can look before you walk through that door. And again, you can always walk right back out of that door in most instances. It's like walking, I use this example in the morning rune. Again, this is Tuesday, so it's Tuesday's morning poll. But it's like walking through the woods. We have beautiful trails here. And when I first started walking on these trails, I stayed on the main path. Because I didn't know where that trail ran off to. And I'm directionally challenged. This is my left, this is my other left. And I mean that in all literal sense. I GPS going to places in my town because I will get lost. So I stayed on the main path. I didn't want to get lost. And then one day I'm like, you know what? How bad can this path be? And so I took a path. And I knew that if it went so far and I felt like, you know, maybe I need to turn around, I'm going to get lost, I could turn back around and walk back the way I came. And I knew that eventually I would end up back on my path, the path that I was familiar with. And so little bit by little bit, I kept getting further and kept getting further. Come to find out, these paths actually loop on back to that main path. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't take a chance. And that's what I also feel like the universe is asking of you, is to take a chance on yourself. Because again, the Four of Wands is where you're going. The Four of Wands for me is the finish line. It's the party. It's exactly what you want at the very end. But you have to be willing to walk a new path. So I do want to look at this Judgment energy and that World energy before I let you all go. So what are these choices? What are these endings and new beginnings here? Page of Wands, becoming inspired. Hermit, yep, there's that shining of that light. The Page of Cups. The Three of Swords, give me one more. And the King of Pentacles. You have to find value in the things that do not feel good. Nine of Cups. You have to find the lesson, and not even the lesson, because not everything has to be a lesson. But if you change that your perspective of how you view the world can start to work with you. I don't know why high school flew through my brain, but there were the friend groups. You know how they have the different friend groups, okay? And when you first get into high school, your freshman year, you're trying to figure out where you belong. I did not belong with the popular kids. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to be with the popular kids. Because if I put myself in that circle, I would realize they were just a bunch of stuck-up snobs. They were. And if that turned me into that, which never would have happened, but I couldn't be around those types of people who were always judging other people and always nitpicking at other people. I could not do that. And so I knew that that's not what I wanted. And so instead of being like, oh, well, I'll never be the popular kid, I was okay with that. Because then I found my tribe, my group of friends who vibrated on the same vibration I did. And yeah, they were the popular kids. Everybody looked up to them, but they were fake as hell. And I would rather be authentically me than fake as hell. You have to change the way that you look at things. You have to change the way you look at yourself. Because that is the answer. That is the key. And trusting the universe that it has your back. Zodiac signs that I see as a whole. We've got Taurus, Aquarius, Gemini, Capricorn, Scorpio, Sag, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, more Aquarian, Leo, Virgo, Pisces. One more time just to make sure I did not miss anybody. We have got Sag, Scorpio, Taurus, Capricorn, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, more Aquarius, Pisces, Virgo, Capricorn, Leo, and I believe that's everybody. So, this is what I have for you guys. I really, really hope this helped give you some sort of insight into the next 6 months. Because this isn't like the full moon energy. We are not even close to being there. But the next 6 months, this is what's going to be taking place. So, this is what I have for you guys. I really, really hope this helped. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, your company is well appreciated. If this helped you, please leave a like, leave a comment. If you know somebody else who is struggling with this energy, send this to them. You know that my main focus on this channel is you guys and course correcting and helping move you guys from where you are to where you want to be. And I know sometimes I may not tell you what you want to hear, but I'll tell you what you need to hear. So, thank you guys for joining me. This was lovely. And I will see you all again later. Bye, guys.